My roommate is a liar, so I broke his laptop.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
Get your laptop freaking broken. For context, as I know you love context, he's not my roommate any longer, but still works with my fiance. I, 21, live in a townhome with my 3 roommates and a fiance. In July to August of 2024, a friend my fiance made at his job began to come over a lot. Let's call him Randy. By the way, this comes from Tight Question 7081, and if you want to share your stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So he would go fishing and kayaking with my fiance, and sometimes have cookouts with me and him, and even stayed on our couch overnight. Randy and my fiance came up to me one night to discuss something important. It was Randy wanting to know if he could crash out on our couch for a few months and pay rent so he could get back on his feet. After getting some context, he was living in a motel with another previous friend, ex-coworker, and this friend never paid the fees or anything and locked Randy out of the place, even making him sleep on the floor/couch of the motel. If I'm being honest, I'm a very empathetic person, so I told him as long as he cleaned up after himself and did a chore like everyone else, I didn't mind. I regret this decision to this day. I mean, it's really a toss-up with roommates in general, but then to also let, someone stay in your house who isn't necessarily paying rent.
Right. It's a risky situation.
It's risky. Fast forward to a month into him staying with all of us, and issues began to flow in. I'm not a doctor or anything, but he was a classic narcissist. He never felt the need to do chores because out of everyone in the apartment, he worked the hardest job. For context, he's a mechanic, but so is my fiance. My other roommate, let's call her Lily, is a cook at a very busy diner. My other roommates have gas station jobs, but they are not easy by any means. He always sexualized Lily, who he mentioned one of the first times he came over. She was cute, but we told him she's gay. He never dropped this. Lily is very eccentric and hyper. She has no filter and does as she pleases. She's always walking around in barely any clothes and we all don't care. It's just how she is. It bothers no one, especially not Randy. However, there were a few times she would say, "Don't look," and he would instantly look.
Okay, to be fair, I feel like
if someone goes, "Don't look," you go, like, "That's true."
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess it depends on because I guess there is that kind of like, "Don't look," what?
Right.
But
right.
I feel like it's like, "Don't look," and he's like, "Where?"
Yeah. Or like, "Don't look, I'm naked."
And he goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Whoa! And she's like, "Ooga!"
Right.
Yeah. And even times he would just lustfully look at her. And when we made jokes about it, he would shut down and call her ugly.
Oh my God.
Why is he here? Why is he here? He
that's your crushes.
Yeah. He constantly made nasty jokes about gay and trans people and even women. Why is your friend friends with him? I mean, your fiance friends with him? Because this seems like a terrible person. Yeah. Why are we friends with this person? He made comments about the loudness and me and my fiance's schmexy times and wanting it to be louder. Ew. He was a creep in multiple ways, and it was not Lily's fault for what she wore. Randy also menaced my cats. Yes, and I knew this because we had cameras in our kitchen and I was checking them for some other reason relating to dirty dishes and saw the clip of him chasing my cat and scaring the heck out of him twice. My cat is okay, by the way, but I was pissed. Randy always one-upped everyone when trauma dumping, saying he had it worse. It didn't matter if we weren't even talking about trauma somehow. What he was going through was worse, or he was better and knew better and was smarter. This went on every single day for months, 3 to be exact, before all heck broke loose. Now for how I got to the point of breaking his laptop. Honestly, I would have broken his laptop like months ago.
Lots of different reasons.
Months ago. Yeah. He seems just like a terrible person. I'm like, why is he here? The end of September came and we noticed Randy acting a bit more irritated and spacing himself from us all more and more. One night when my fiance went downstairs to make himself some water, he got tapped by Randy to talk. This is the beginning of the end. How my fiance related to me was that Randy wanted to go back to who he was living in the motel with prior because he was not going to make it another week without his help. He also told him a week prior he had already planned this but didn't think to tell us, and then told my fiance to not tell any of us roommates or even me. Of course, my wonderful fiance told me first thing next morning. Of course, I told my roommates because what? So all of us collectively panicked because it's the end of the month and we have so many bills due and we all plan for them to be 5 ways. I stay at home, not 4 ways if he leaves. Lily calls a group meeting, but then Randy is gone all day paintballing, so we waited all day for him to come home. He left at 11 a.m. and came back at 10 p.m., bro. Anyway, he immediately fell asleep on the couch and I told my fiance, heck no, and I woke his butt up. All of us congregated in the living room as he was barely awake, and Lily began the conversation. He begged to postpone the conversation until the next day because he had a terrible headache. Too bad. Shouldn't have got paintballing then.
That's your fault, man.
We said no. Duh. Lily began to tell him we found out about him leaving and needed to discuss it and find out what's happening because it affects everyone's lives. Well, long story short, he says he agreed with our perspectives and wouldn't move back in with him. No, wait, I think it should be like you have to stay for the month and then leave.
Yeah, or like you have to pay.
Yeah, you have to pay and then leave.
Right.
Please.
Like,
why did you convince him into staying?
Yeah.
Like, I know you wanted the money, but that
Sure.
should have been a separate thing. It should have been like leave, but also pay us.
Get the money.
Get
don't
out.
Get him.
We all collectively sighed in relief and went along with our lives. Until a day later, the next day he came home from work and he started grabbing a bunch of his stuff, like overnight stuff, and saying he was going to stay with his dad, which me and my roommate Lily kind of figured wasn't true because he had claimed he did not have a good relationship with his dad at all. And they never talked, so we were all weirded out. He never came back to live with us again. He did come back to get his stuff because he moved back with a friend. Yes, he lied and swindled us. Gave us the most bull honky temporary peace. We told him over text that he had one day to come get all of his stuff and one day only, and he couldn't make multiple trips as he didn't have much of anything, to be honest. He came a couple days later at a really late time to grab his things, and he snuck into the apartment trying to be quiet and not turning on lights and peeking his head around corners. Little did he know, we were all waiting for him. Ooh. They're all like sitting in the dark and they're like, hello, Randy.
Thank you for
joining us, Randy. Lily and my fiance and even my other roommates laid into him. He was avoiding it the whole time and grabbing his things, and he went in and out a few times. As he walked out the final time, Lily asked him if he had everything because he wouldn't be allowed back ever again, and we wouldn't give him anything if he left it. He said, I'm shutting the door, ain't I? And slammed the door closed and left. Well, me and Lily noticed a laptop and Xbox on top of our trash can like an hour later.
Ooh, rookie mistake.
About to lose your laptop. She and my other roommate, we'll call him James, opens the laptop to see if it was working, and it wasn't. It was very destroyed and it wouldn't turn on. It literally looked like it had been run through a blender. So Lily, James, and I collectively, out of anger, agreed we would smash it on our back patio. And we did. And it felt amazing. Then a couple hours later, Randy texted my fiance asking for the exact laptop back, even though he knew he wasn't going to be able to get anything back. He claimed that the laptop had a bunch of important crap on it, even though it didn't work, and that it was his whole life. In my opinion, if something is your whole life, you're going to make sure it's the first thing that you take out of an apartment of people you screwed over. It's been a few months since this, and even though he claimed on his deceased mom he would pay us even after knowing we broke the laptop, he never did. He didn't give us a dime and completely screwed us over and even run up our electric, Wi-Fi, and gas so much that when he left, it went down over $100. That's
wow.
a huge decrease.
Wow.
I needed to impress that the laptop was only destroyed because we couldn't even work it or turn it on, and it was already so badly butchered. We wouldn't have done that if it was a normal working laptop. So am I the a-hole. But you know what always works? Listening to more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. That works.
That works.
Tried and true. But there is a little bit left. There's a little edit. But what do you say? Is OP the a-hole?
I think not the a-hole.
I think not the a-hole. I think he left it there. It didn't work.
Exactly. Already broken. Already
he seems
destroyed.
like a terrible person.
Yeah, they said you forget stuff. You're not gonna get it back.
Yeah,
and
that's going through in a court of law.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't fight that. But there is and edit.
Let's see it.
I'm getting a few people who do not seem to understand why I stay at home, especially at my age of 21. I have POTS. I also have Ehlers Down syndrome, and on top of that, I have a bunch of other vascular, muscular, and other physical issues, as well as that I am autistic. So because of that, I stay home. I handle the finances, most of the cleaning when I can, and everything else here. I'm getting a lot of people asking why I didn't just leave it on the doorstep or put it in a bag on the porch or something, because if someone abuses my animals and my roommates and me and my fiance, I'm not letting them come back to the apartment after I gave them an allotted time to get their stuff. My question is, did you keep the Xbox?
Yeah.
Because
was that destroyed?
Yeah, don't let that go to waste.
Yeah, that probably still. I'm gonna hope that's what happened.
Yeah,
it probably still works, and then they play fun games.
In
celebration of him leaving.
Yeah, but that is the end of that story. So we're gonna get into the next one.